Alhamdulillah wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. I bear witness there is no God but one God and He has no partners. Inshallah, I want to basically chat with you about some of my observations. If you remember, there was an article written in Masjid Tucson about the Satan being the master hypnosis. So I am witnessing similar thing, and literally people are hypnotized. In other words, I'm just looking in my company, people that are around me, they spit. There have been people we knew clearly, we were in touch with them, they passed away at a young age. You see, the next day they just move on, and as if it is, nothing happened. All these lessons. That is a good lesson. Even when I was younger, before even hearing about submission, it was a very good reminder, at least for me, that sooner or later, it's really make you reflect on the value of this material world. And you will see around you, definitely many people are occupied, fully occupied with their jobs, with their businesses, with their families, to the point that they are blinded to see the truth, or not even having time to sit and reflect about their true purpose of life. And of course, you go all over the internet, you will see different videos and different stuff about motivation and stuff, which is mainly about achieving certain material things. It could be related to fitness and body, it could be related to investing in something, and so on. Of course, I'm not saying that these are bad. These sources of information are there, it's from God, and we can use it in a good way, as long as we keep our priorities God first, our religion first. We can use this knowledge. All of us, we know we have to work, we have to strive, but seeking hereafter and this world. And automatically, as we read from the Quran and we understand, if we keep God our priority, the same famous statement we see in the Bible, seek God's kingship, everything else follows. If we keep God our priority, automatically things fall into place. And you will see success in here and hereafter. So some people, traditional people, or there are certain people think that it is, normal to suffer, or is part of clearing their sins and so on. We learn from the Quran that it's not true. God promises believers perfect wealth, health, and happiness in this life and in the hereafter. In this life as well as in the hereafter. That's why even they pray, they don't believe even what they pray. When they do qunut, we say in Iran, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanat wa fil akhirati hasanat wa qina azab an-nar. Means, my Lord, grant me hasanat, means happiness in here and in hereafter. The same thing that they're praying, they are not believing that, yet they believe that it's normal to suffer, to have all these things happening. But we know that everything is precisely measured. We don't get a headache, we don't get in any situation without God's leave. So, and it's also clear from the Quran, whatever good we see is from God, and whatever bad we see is from us. It's the consequences of our own shortcomings. That's why God, the most merciful, has given us chance, and He has already mentioned in the Quran that we are created weak. He has given us chance for us to come here, reflect on the creation, on ourselves, on the purpose of our life, and He didn't just leave us to wander around. He sent us out of His mercy. Apart from all this immense, beautiful creation, the creation of the universes, from all the animals and so on, which are great signs from God. Apart from that, we have God send us messengers, scriptures, and also strengthen us with His proof. Like we are blessed to know about the mathematical miracle of Quran. There were many other previous generations who had no idea what was the initials of the Quran. To the point that even up to today, that so many people, you track them, what is this initials in the Quran? Alif, Lam, Mim. So they said these are in a secret between Allah and the Rasul. These are some codes. We don't need to know about that. This is between Allah and the Rasul. But we are, by God's grace, we know that this is all, these initials are connected to the mathematical miracle of Quran. So, how, I don't think anyone, it is automatically, or Satan just decide and choose who to hypnotize. I don't believe that. I believe it is the consequences of the people by disregarding God's message. As they go through their, it is designed, if you look around, to get you occupied, in the traffic, in the conversations, in the emails, with your friends, with anyone around you. It is designed for people who are not conscious of God or the hereafter. You have no other choice. You will drown in the world of materialism. It's just a matter of time. Maybe you try harder to stay up and breathe, but if you follow that path, it's just a matter of time that you will, I call it, drowning in the world of materialism. Only we can survive that drowning, not only that, even become prosperous, maybe on a luxury ship, to be saved on a ship and have a good time, is by being conscious of our Creator and remembering our purpose of life. So we know that on a daily basis we have certain responsibilities. Some of us are business owners, maybe some of them are in job, but at the meantime there are certain practices given to us. We are blessed to have received certain knowledge and practices to help us to detach ourselves from this worldly life, which God causes in the Quran illusion. Illusion means nothing. You are in a world of illusion. God calls this world an illusion. And just see how many people, they are putting all their attention and energy in this worldly life to achieve certain material goals. And one of the main things being money, and with the belief that I gain more money, I have a better position, I will be more happy. Buy more and be happy more. It's a consumption society. It is, you see, in a few decades before, I remember I was smaller, I never saw this much range of products in my life. From eating, from clothing, like that. Now you go everywhere, you're bombarded with offers and stuff that, it's actually attractive, let me tell you that. Even me, I fall a few times for it, I needed one pair of shoes, I bought two pairs, it's an offer, leather shoes, Italy, so let me buy to have more. But, it's kind of a hoarding. You buy what you need. For me especially. Women, I understand, maybe they have more requirement, but... So what I mean by this is that, again, back to the main point, that we have to focus on the hereafter. We have to keep our priorities in worshiping God alone. Everything else will be manageable. We don't have to fear that if I keep less time, or if I go for my Jummah, if I be late, like in the morning, it's God's commandment. When you do your Fajr Salah, you have to recite Quran, and it's mentioned, it is witnessed by the angels. So this is, if I'm late or anything, what we're going to prioritize. First of all, as Brother Harris said earlier, that we have to sleep early to get up earlier, and you have enough time. You don't need to rush. You do your salah, you do your recitation of the Quran, you put your zikr, and everything goes fine. But most people, what they do, late night, there's so many programs to watch. So as long as it may help you to remember God, I think it's fine. I'm sure. If any program you're watching, it is helping you to remember God, and God's message is fine, like watching Dr. Khalifa's videos or latest discoveries about, certain historical events which I was doing, I was trying to a little bit pinpoint the time of the Pharaoh of Joseph and the Pharaoh of Moses, little bit information I got like that. Anything that helps you remember God. And yes, so when we keep that our priority, we will never be hypnotized, like you see millions of people around you. It's unbelievable the way I see that people are approaching this. The conversations are all about this credit card has more benefits, or this, this airline is offering a better service. You will see is all the conversation, the thoughts around them during the day is about the worldly life. This is what I observe in my office, and it seems it's never enough. It's really, have you heard that statement? buy more and be happy more. It's the same thing. Like it is, they are hypnotized. It's a very nice word because it's really related. How come all these people has forgotten about their original purpose? Why they don't keep time to study? Many of my colleagues in the office, although you're not allowed to preach religion, but somehow when I sit, I talk to them. I have shared Dr. Rashad Khalifa's videos. Alhamdulillah, I never hide from the beginning. Who is this person? This was God's messenger of the covenant. How you said that? There are many other messengers. Then I share the proof and the conversation take from there. But unfortunately, majority of people who I shared the message with them, none of them came back to me with the question, what is this? I shared the mathematical miracle of Quran. I shared the great debate. We have 2-3 Egyptian colleagues in my office. I said, have you heard about Dr. Rashad Khalifa? You challenge to make it more attractive, who challenged the scholars in Azhar universities, and especially on the subject of Nabi and all of that. I didn't see interest. I didn't see them coming back to me or debating about it. It's just they're not into religion, like if they're not interested to discuss about this. One of them directly told me, hey man, I'm not interested to discuss about this stuff. His name is Dr. Ala, he's from Egypt. So I'm not interested into this stuff. So okay, if you're not interested. So as we see, majority of the people have been diverted by Satan from their true purpose of life, from their priorities are confused, and unfortunately, as long as they maintain this mentality, or they don't want to search for the truth, the thirst for the truth is not there, they will remain in that path, unfortunately, until the resurrection, when they see, everyone sees, everyone submits, and that is too late. This is where the statements we say in the Quran, we say, my Lord, send me back, now I will lead a righteous life, I work righteousness, asking for another chance, which we know it will not be given. However, the good news is that those who choose their priorities carefully, those who decide to follow God's laws, the good news is that we will be protected from whatever is happening in this world. Right now, if you look around you, there are very many wars happening, famine, and in Yemen, so many. I think it's every 6 minutes, one child dying from the hunger or whatever is happening. And we know, of course, that's a blessing for that child to go at that young age. But we see it's really full of chaos around us in the world. But yet, mashallah, we are here, we are sitting together right now, we are observing the Jummah, we have food to eat, we have shelter, we have everything, mashallah, by God's grace. And this is indeed a great blessing that we have the time, the ability to gather around and observe God's commandments. Inshallah, we continue next khutbah. Tubu ilallah. Alhamdulillah wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. I bear witness there is no God but one God, and He has no partners. So inshallah we continue the same subject. So what are these religious practices, or what is being prescribed for us, by following that, what I call prescription, it will help us not to get absorbed with this world life. Imagine if you have a problem and you go to doctor, and doctor recognizes your problem, your health issue, whatever, and he will write a prescription, medication. And we say, okay, you take this medication, these pills, few times a day for 2 weeks, like that, and your problem is solved. And then I will take the prescription from the doctor, I will go home, I will stick the prescription on the wall. The doctor gave me this prescription that is based on the problem that I have, that will treat me. I take that prescription and I go home and put it on my table on the wall, just looking at it, not acting on it. This is similar when people who receive the Quran, instead of studying, acting based on God's commandments in Quran, they just kiss it and put it top of the shelf, as we have seen in the traditional world. I have seen them putting on the dashboard of the car. I have seen them putting on the shelves. Have no idea. In fact, their children, some of them, you ask, what is Sami Allahu liman hamida? They don't know. Some of them, they have learned, they are doing their salah, but they don't know the meaning of what they're reciting. This is so important. By the way, this is also how we can fill up our day with God. So, same basic things. We get up in the morning, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La ilaha illallah, As we are preparing for our daily, work or anything, we can put a zikr to remember Allah. And when we are driving, there are so many ways we can use all these tools and technologies to help us remember God. It could be a Quran study. For example, now, every time Quranic study is happening, I'm downloading and I'm listening in the car because I'm a lot on the roads. So it helped me a lot, a lot of reminders and what was discussed and so on. So it is designed for us to protect us from getting preoccupied with this daily life. And our children also, those of us who have children, it's the same thing. It's our responsibility to keep time for them. How much time we keep for their math, for their so many other subjects in the school, and how many time we put, which is the greatest thing we can do for our children, is to support them in learning their religion. So this is very important for us, mashallah. Like Alisa, earlier she was there was a song, Russian song, to help her sleep. So now she put zikr. Now it became a habit. Every night she is learning 10 minutes like that Quran, then she is putting zikr and she is sleeping. So these are healthy habits for the child to develop. It can actually eventually save them from getting absorbed again in this worldly life. These are good habits to teach the child. Child, get up in the morning, you have to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, la ilaha illallah. You forgot, you can repent. So this is, as parents, it is our responsibility is to remind our children that this is where you have to keep your time and energy, and everything else follows. Success follows, the good knowledge, good marks, everything else follows. This is God's promise. Any one of us who keep God first, everything else will fall into place, and for our health, for our everything. Surah, shall I read this from Surah 2, Ayah 62? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Surely those who believe, those who are Jewish, the Christian and the converts, anyone who believes in God, believes in the last day and leads a righteous life will receive their recompense from their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. Surah 2, Ayah 112. Indeed, those who submit themselves absolutely to God alone while leading a righteous life will receive their recompense from their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. Surah 2, Ayah 277. Those who believe and lead a righteous life and observe the contact prayers and give the obligatory charity, they receive their recompense from their Lord. They will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. And many other verses in the Quran, we clearly see that if we follow God's commandments, although we have shortcomings that we have to, this is our job to detect them. We should never let Satan adorn in our eyes, whether it is reckless driving, whether it is overeating, it goes on. And this is only we, sincerely, if we examine ourselves, small or big, doesn't matter, all these shortcomings, as long as we have time, we have to fix it. In other words, we really have to strive to be a perfect human being. We know we can never be, we always have these shortcomings, but we have to work on it, to drop these habits, one by one. Each one of us, we can look in the light of Quran, we are not answerable to anyone. We are answerable to God alone. Whatever situation you have, whatever strengths you have, shortcoming has, God already knows. And once we detect them, all we need to do is seek God's help to help them correct the situation. Surah 3, Ayah 139. Bismillah. You shall not waver, nor shall you grieve, for you are ultimate victors if you are believers. Surah 7, Ayah 35. Bismillah. O children of Adam, when messengers come to you from among you and recite my revelations to you, those who take heed and lead a righteous life will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. So many other verses we have. And this is also where we have commandment from Quran to read Quran from cover to cover. We have to try, as per my experience, it's every time I read, I go through different chapters, something come up. Every time you learn something. If you really focus on the verses, it's never ending. It's just full of lessons, knowledges in the Quran that you read every time you come up with a subject. It's very informative. And we have certain brothers and sisters which sometimes they have maybe doubts or anything, is especially normal for the new submitters. But all we need to do is to look into the light of the Quran, under the light of the Quran, and it will become clear to us. Recently there was a Quran study in US, so it was about charity and sadaqah. The debate was so the person who was not paying attention, it's not necessary you need to know Arabic, but it's good to refer sometimes. Just if you want to confirm something, you look at the Arabic meaning. And another submitter, Brother Masood, by looking at the light of the Quran, it became clear to them. There was a doubt about charity and sadaqah in a verse in Surah chapter 2. So again, the same thing. We need any information, we want to clear anything, we look in the light of the Quran sincerely. And God is the best teacher. He will make it known to us. And we don't need to jump into conclusion at the same time. Some people think right now I need to decide this is it or no. It's not like that. Sometimes you can take a neutral place until you learn to study more about it, and you learn what's the meaning of certain verses or the meaning of certain words mean. So this is all we have to do. We have the book. We have received, by God's grace, we understood the true message of the Quran. We are still I believe we are in early generation. I believe we are still in early generation. We are fortunate to receive God's purified message, and one of the great miracles which we have witnessed. And we have to take the full, as late Dr. Rashad Khalifa said, we need every penny of it on the hereafter. And the reward is obvious in the Quran. An honorable rank and a happy life in here and in hereafter. So we again remind ourselves that most of our energy and focus should be to the hereafter. Like your focus in the hereafter as you're moving, let's say, through a forest or somewhere where you don't know where you're going, but by just focusing on the message and God alone, you will be guided through the right path, through the correct direction. That's why we should rely only to God alone for guidance and for help. So may Allah help us to always to strictly follow His commandments and always remember Him, inshallah. Hakim as-salam.